I've been working in the Brecon Beacons for over 40 years, and I've basically been introducing people to the safe enjoyment of the hills and giving them some environmental awareness. The reason I went on the Mountain and Moorland Ambassador course was that there's always something more to learn. And what was amazing about this course is I thought I knew quite a lot about the area, but the extra stuff that I've learnt has been invaluable in helping me introduce the people to the hill in a way that is going to be sustainable. What was good about the course was that it gave me an insight into areas that I wasn't that familiar with. So, for example, the problems that hill farmers are facing and some of the problems with visitor pressure. I didn't realise quite how bad the incursion of bracken was, for example. It gave me a much broader knowledge base. I also found that some of the archaeology information was fascinating. I thought I knew the history of the area and about the ancient monuments. What I didn't realise was how much pressure they're under. What I've done differently as a result of this information is that it has enabled me to introduce some new topics into my courses that otherwise I wouldn't have done, which I hope is giving visitors a much better appreciation of the pressures that this landscape is under. One of the most beneficial aspects of the scheme is the networking that's going on. And it's not just with outdoor professionals like myself, but it's also with people who run guest houses and tea shops and so on. What that is doing effectively is it's getting that message out to a broader range of the general public.
So from my perspective, the course was really important for me to understand what the real issues and problems are facing the upland environment around the Brecon Beacons, and so I can actually then teach through my courses what these issues and problems are to my little students. And also when I'm guiding, I can actually tell the people about the problems we have so they're a little bit more better informed. The first thing I actually done was put out to my network where we can actually report off-road vehicles or illegal off-road vehicles where they come and enter into the mountains on the upland areas. It's something that's really frustrated a lot of my friends, but we've not really known what to do with the issue itself, and now we've got a kind of a system that we can actually report. Whilst it's not going to catch them red-handed, at least we're giving the knowledge back into the park where these people are going with their bikes. More and more off-road vehicles and bikes up in the mountains. They shouldn't be here. They are causing damage. They are creating massive ruts, as we can quite well see here. They should really be staying to the kind of designated areas. Do they actually realise that they're accelerating erosion through their activities? So here we've got a classic example of how an off-road motorcycle has come through this area. It's created ruts through more than one motorcycle come in through. So you never see one at a time, you see a good dozen or so of them. So they've created ruts. The ruts then allow the water to flow through it more easily as water would, and that's going to accelerate the erosion. And we're to the point here, we've actually gone through the base soil, and now we're starting to expose the rock and by my feet here.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Not at this moment in time.
When I heard about the Mountain and Moorland Ambassador course, I thought it would be a great way to learn more about the mountains so I could enhance my guided walks, but it also seemed a good way to be more involved in the local community and get to know other people that live and work in the Black Mountains. The course content was really interesting. It covered things like archaeology, geology, and sort of natural resources in the Black Mountains and problems with management of the uplands, such as peat and bracken. And I also learned an awful lot about hill farming. Yeah, as you can see from this area, it expands very rapidly, about 3% a year, and it chokes the land. It wipes out heather, which is an important nesting site for grouse. Another problem with bracken is that the damage it can do to ancient monuments. We're currently standing in an Iron Age hill fort in the ramparts, and you can see behind me where the bracken is completely obscuring the archaeology of this important site. It can also, the roots can damage the rocks and move things around a bit, which isn't great. Since learning about problems in the uplands, such as invasive species and bracken and footpath erosion, I've signed up to be an uplands volunteer of the Brecon Beacons National Park. I've been doing it for a few months now, and at least once or twice a month I go out with a team of volunteers to do tasks like pulling up Himalayan balsam or bashing down bracken.
I was born and brought up in Hay-on-Wye, and the Black Mountains was my back garden. I thought I knew the Black Mountains, but going on the course has opened my eyes to more of what's available, what there is, and what I didn't know. As a granddaughter of a farmer that used to graze on the Black Mountains, I knew about grazing. That was 20, 30 years ago, and it was fantastic to meet Jeff, who is a today farmer, and the problems that he has and how he works the land and how the grazing has changed. I was lucky enough to, after the course, go out with a ranger, and the work they do is phenomenal. What they've been doing is making sure that access is still there for pedestrians. Just make sure that our guests are aware of what is available, where they can go walking, what they can do, but also try and encourage them not to light fires. Just to be aware of the archaeology, keep the rangers, and if you can get more, great, because they have so much work to do. Their tasks are endless. Continue doing the Mountain and Moorland course. That course, I think, was one of the best courses I've ever done. I know there are a lot of people not able to get on it, would desperately love to get on it and do it. I think also actually running courses for the locals. I'm a local and I didn't know a lot of the things that we were told. So if more locals knew more about the mountains, perhaps they would appreciate it more.
I was born in Brecon, lived on the slopes of the Sugarloaf Mountain, married a farmer and moved to the edge of the Black Mountains where we farmed for 27 years. We then moved to just outside Hay-on-Wye where I run 2 holiday flats. I came to the Mountain and Moorlands course because I felt that it's on our doorstep and you can never learn enough about what is going on locally. We met up with the Black Mountain Land Use Partnership, who told us about the conservation works, the liaison between local farmers, bracken encroachment, and preserving the habitat of all the wildlife and birds. I think the most interesting part of the course was actually finding out what the Black Mountain Land Use Partnership guys did. As a local, I was quite unaware of what they actually were doing, and I'm not alone in that, so I think publicising that through the course was really fantastic. I felt that the other ambassadors that were with us were quite in awe of what a hill farmer actually has to contend with. In this climate, especially at the moment, it's really quite a struggle to make ends meet. The winters are harsh, the productivity of the soil on the mountains is low. Anything that can be done to increase that productivity is great. It was a real eye-opener for ambassadors to realise that without the input of these courses, the upland farmer and the commoners and the Black Mountain Land Use Partnership, things like dry stone walling, hedging, all these really important skills that keep sheep on the mountain and have done for generations, they would cease to exist. So it's really important that tourists become aware of what their input is and to respect the opening and shutting of gates and to contain stock in certain areas. I think to liaise all together, as we did in the ambassadorship course, was fantastic, and that's the way forward.
My role is to encourage and to inspire others into the great outdoors. And accompany me on my outdoor activities are my 2 dogs, which helps me to promote responsible dog walking and responsible dog ownership. This is Marley. Marley is a Malamute, 10-year-old Alaskan Malamute. And this is Asha. Asha's a 6-year-old Siberian Husky. The course taught me so much about the geology, the landscape, the nature and the wildlife within the Black Mountains. It also highlighted the importance of the farmers and the landowners and some of the problems that they face. During the course, we had the opportunity to meet farmers and landowners, and I found this really beneficial as I realised the problems that face the farmers and the landowners and what we can do to help. Since completing the 2-day course, I've started a campaign to promote, encourage and achieve responsible dog ownership. Some of the problems that I highlight with regards to walking in the great outdoors, such as how important it is to pick up your dog mess. It's actually just 1 gram of dog's mess contains over 24 million bacteria. This goes into the soil and it can last in the soil for years. It also gets into our waterways and contaminates our streams and rivers. Keeping dogs on lead, dog owners don't act maliciously. I feel a lot of it is just education and educating in a non-patronising way. I feel during the spring months it may be useful to talk about the ground nesting birds there and also talk about our fragile landscape, dogs that are off lead. Obviously there's damaging impact to rare plant species and to habitats. And this year would be better talked of at certain times of the year. Also livestock, keeping dogs under close control when there's lambs. I feel I have a better knowledge to communicate with visitors. I've learned so much about the consequences of the things that we're asked to do when we're out in the outdoors. I've also gained support from the Black Mountains Land Use Partnership, huge support from the Brecon National Park, and I've also gained a fantastic network of people